Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another stock market outlook video brought to you by DeepView. As always, we're going to run through the market indexes, leading themes as of this moment, and a whole bunch of individual ideas and stocks later on in the video. So stick around. If you do enjoy this, please go ahead and leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, and let's dive right in. So starting with the QQQ, the NASDAQ 100 ETF. Let me open this up a little bit more here. You can see that this current market cycle started as we retook and reclaimed right near the 21 EMA, popped out of this potential bear flag that kind of broke expectations to the upside, and then we've been trending above the rising 21 EMA. Now we have closed twice below the 21 EMA, so in the strict definition of the market cycle, how I define it, we have kind of ended that. And right now we're trending below a declining 21 EMA, and we're waiting for a pop back through that 21 EMA after some type of consolidation. This decline has been pretty sharp, and there were also a little bit of warning signs up here. Obviously, everybody and their mother was saying we were extended all throughout this run. We kept on going. We thought we were going to pull back, starting with this downside reversal, started wedging up. We had a positive expectation breaker here, kept going. Then we started wedging up on lower volume. And then we tried to break out, had a downside reversal, and that's really when this pullback took hold. And a lot of leaders kind of reflect this chart as well. And many of them have pulled back pretty hard to that 21 EMA area. So, longer term, we're still above a rising 50-day moving average. Short term, we're below a declining 21 EMA and are waiting for some type of direction. We've been tightening up a little bit over the past few days. You can see that in the RMV going to 0. And now we're waiting for a direction after this consolidation. I wouldn't be surprised to see us pull back a little bit more, maybe have a downside reversal, strong close off this prior area, which has been resistance. We broke through it, and we'll see if this level is respected if we do pull down further towards around that 392. But forming consolidation here, watching for either an undercut and rally scenario or just a pop back through that declining 21 EMA. This has been a pretty sharp decline, so it may need a little bit more time to kind of wear itself out. But as of this moment, this is kind of the picture we're dealing with, and we don't have to predict what's going to happen. All we have to do is analyze what's actually going on, interpret it, and come up with potential scenarios and know exactly how we're going to deal with each of those. So that's pretty much it for the QQQ. We're below that declining 21 EMA, but are still in a longer term uptrend above a rising 50 and 200-day moving average. And, this pullback, it was kind of expected based on how extended we were, and it will set up some new bases, new opportunities, and new themes. So just because we're pulling back doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Keep an eye on what's developing, where's the rotation going, and look for those opportunities as they present themselves. The strongest stocks during this pullback, you can identify where the rotation has been, and we'll go through some of those names and themes very shortly. Biotech, pharma, crypto theme remains strong, banks remain strong, and there's a whole new group of stocks that are kind of taking the lead as the pullback, as the leaders that were extended and acting super strong, carrying the market, are pulling back somewhat to that 21-day area. So we'll have to see whether it resolves the upside or downside, hold this level, undercut that, or let that kind of 50-day moving average catch up to price. But we'll just have to wait and see what actually happens in real time. Moving on to the IWO, the Russell 2000 Growth Index. This shows, pretty similar picture, very sharp decline off the top, below the 21 EMA, which we started a market cycle as we popped through it. EMA crossed back to that area, continued movement upward. We were trending nicely and powerfully above that moving average. And then this has been a really sharp decline over just, 3-4 days here, down significantly. And, this type of sharp action to me, often looks like the left-hand side of a base that needs to form and, consolidate, ring out the sellers, all of that. But we'll have to see what happens, whether we can, pop through the 21 EMA and, continue upwards, or if we do need a little bit more time, maybe we start to form a base here, the 200-day 50 SMA, rise up to meet the bottom of that base. And then from that point on, we can start, another leg up like we saw back here. But this is a very powerful run off the bottom. And, a pretty sharp decline. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens after this moment. I don't like how this day we undercut this level, tried to rally up, were rejected from that declining 21 EMA, poor close, but over the past 3 days, net we're pretty much going sideways. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens, and also take a look at the qualitative factors, such as how growth stocks are actually doing, what's leading the market, what groups are acting strong, and all of that. So that's pretty much it for the major indexes. We were in a strong market cycle. We've now pulled back sharply. Some pretty big distribution happening here, and for my eyes, this needs a little bit more time to ring out. But I'm always going to defer to what the leaders are actually doing, feedback from any test trades, and existing positions, and how that's going on. So we'll have to see what happens. Longer term uptrend and a pullback within that uptrend as of this moment. Let's take a look at some of the mega caps here. NVIDIA, very constructive looking. This has been basing really since the July highs in the market, just pretty much going sideways, but it remains right near those highs and is above that 21 EMA. We popped up through that on this Friday, and remained above a rising 50 SMA. There's a little bit of a character change as it retested and held the 50 SMA. And now we're watching for continuation up. Ideally, from my perspective, I'd love to see, it tighten for a few days, pull back one more time, and then push hard with, a lot of juice from that consolidation, from that volatility contraction pattern that's kind of forming. It's kind of already made its move up in the very short term, can definitely keep going, but ideally we get, a drift back, tight action into that 21 EMA, let that 50 SMA kind of curl up a little bit, and then really push hard upwards with conviction. AMD also in the semiconductor space. This has kind of been the leader during this market cycle, while NVIDIA is pretty much rested. Really nice move off the bottom here. But again, we've got the sharp decline. We've got a gap down, fall through to the downside. This is really a sign that sellers were really, really strong. We've got an unfilled gap here that's going to take time to fill and absorb that selling. And we'll have to see how it acts if it does test this kind of gap level. But often, this type of velocity downwards needs a little bit more time to base out. And I wouldn't mind that, form a base above a rising 50 SMA. That would set up some really nice opportunities. We've also got, confluence of kind of the top of the prior base around 130, right here around 132. So if we can form a base out, in that area, that'd be very, very constructive and would set up some really nice, a really nice setup in my opinion. Love the move higher on volume. Not terrible volume to the downside as we, fell hard to that 21 EMA. But I'm not a huge fan of the velocity of this move down. I prefer kind of a drift back into the 21 EMA, tighten up. More so like this as we kind of pulled back gradually, but here it's a little bit sharp for my taste. Moving on to Meta, let's take a look at that chart. This is a little bit stronger, above a rising 21 EMA. Nice respect for that level and continuation up. That's a good sign. Bringing up Google. You can see this is below the 21 EMA. It wasn't support in this sense, in this stock, and we'll have to see how it acts versus that 50 SMA. Moving on, let's also bring up Amazon. And you can see that this is at the 50 SMA. So a pretty key level here. Does it hold at this spot? Or do we, break to the downside below 144? Continuation down, that would signal that this would need a lot more time. Again, a little bit of a sharp decline. We had a tight area up here. We broke downwards, had no real respect at the 21 EMA apart from this one day. Poor close this day, fall through to the downside, again a poor close, and now an inside day. So do we resolve this inside day up or down? That's kind of the key question here. This is also lining up with kind of the base highs. So you've got a confluence of areas here, potential reasons why this could be a spot where it will make a stand and resolve to the upside, but we never have to predict. We just have to see what actually happens. So that's pretty much it for the mega caps. In terms of what the leading themes are as of this moment, the biotech names have been really, really strong. Pharma has been really, really strong. And the shippers, the marine shippers, these have been a really strong theme. You can see Zim here off the bottom, very strong. You can see how it got tight really here, right here after the strong move up. We consolidated, tightened up, RMV went to 0, and then we had this explosion both in price and volume. Really nice move here. Extended in the short term here, but we'll have to see what happens if this can form out and really start a significant bottom, because this has been in a downtrend for quite some time. This was an IPO leader, but then turned into a stage 4 downtrend, and still it has yet to form really its stage 1 base. But there's just kind of move off the bottom that is tradable if this is kind of your style. This would have been a nice entry spot. Higher volume, move from this tight area, and explosion upwards. FRO is another marine shipper that's been acting pretty well, forming out a base here, still moving towards those highs, and maybe forms one more contraction near those highs and then resolves to the upside. But really nice action, strong move up, consolidation, strong move up, and we'll see if we can form one more kind of V shape here, tighten up, set up, low volume pullback into the 50 SMA, uptrending 21 EMA, and then set up a nice pivot that you can basically trade off of. But marine shipping's been acting well. Regional banks, those also have been acting quite well. And what I want to do for the rest of this video, and if you are enjoying my analysis, please leave a like down below and comment if you're enjoying this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the market as well. I want to go through kind of the names on my wide list that I picked out that kind of stood out to me. So these are kind of a range of stocks that are setting up, stocks that have already kind of showed strength during this pullback. And I'll kind of go through each of these names and touch on, why I picked it out and yeah, kind of why it caught my eye. So AAOI, this has been a super strong name off these lows. Bad break here, and then formed another tight area near kind of these lows, the confluence there, and then a nice push through that 21 EMA through the tight area on Friday. So this is kind of leading the market here. It's already pushed up from that tight area. So definitely showing some relative strength, and AAOI has been a leader this year during this most recent market cycle. A firm one to watch, oops reversal Friday, could fall through to the upside through that 21 EMA. And again, this has been a leader, super powerful off these lows. From this breakout, it was up, 86%. It's now pulled back, if we take a look, around 20%. So it could be the bottom of base here, but we'll have to wait and see. And this could just be a retest of that 21 EMA area. But one to watch to see if it can fall through from this oops reversal, or if it needs a little bit more time to base out above the 50 SMA. This is still very early. This is an IPO that's just starting to make the turn off the bottom of its due diligence phase, and we'll just have to wait and see what happens with a firm. Ally, nice, tight consolidation here. I'm not sure if this is a 3 weeks tight, but acting really well. And then a super strong bar off the 21 EMA, and basically watching for fall through. This is in the banking space. Ally, I think they're online bake. And yeah, nice action, nice outside day here, and watching for fall through on above average volume through these highs. It was definitely actionable, Friday through these lows, through these highs, and, potentially actionable with some fall through to the upside, breaking through, these longer term weekly pivots, and, potentially a kicker candle and higher, or just, a consolidation day would be nice, an inside day, and then a breakout. That would also be definitely tradable. AMD, just watching to see how it acts off this 21 EMA, not in a prime spot here. You're a little bit in the middle of nowhere with the sharp decline, and then just kind of, a bounce, a subtle bounce off lows. Not a great close on Friday, but we'll have to see how it acts going forward. In my opinion, this is one of the leaders in the semiconductor space. So definitely a name to watch and have on your radar. Arch, this is in the coal space, and you can always hover over the name in DeepView and take a look at what the company does. And, really nice setup, tight day here on this past Friday, forming a base after a really nice push off lows, and just watching to see if it can break out. You have moved higher for kind of 3 straight days before this tight day, but, I wouldn't mind, a little bit more consolidation before breakout attempt, but definitely could go early next week. AirDX, I do have a lot of, very small, more speculative biotech names that I just like the chart pattern on this list. So keep in mind that a lot of these are more risky. They're lower dollar volume, all of that. This is only a $6 stock. I definitely prefer to trade, $30 plus, $50 plus, $100 plus. But I know some of you might like these high flying names. You just have to manage risk that more tightly, whether that's with position sizing, stop losses, all of that. giving it a little bit more room, sizing it less. That's one way to do it. But a lot of these have very strong charts. So really nice push up higher, now forming a consolidation, forming a little bit of a range here, upside reversal on Friday and watching for fall through these highs. AirVN, really nice tight action the past few days. Really nice tight action. You can see RMV going to 0 multiple times. And this might need a little bit more time. Let that 21 EMA catch up to price, but you could definitely look to enter, this tight area, whether it's an undercut and reclaim, push higher, however you want to play it. AXSM, this is a pretty big base if I remember it. Inside day here, tightness, nice volume here, and just watching for continuation up. Not the best tight area, but an inside day is an example of volatility contraction. BHVN, just kind of trending above that 21 EMA and continue to do so. Not the most actionable spot, a little bit still extended, but acting well relative to the rest of the market. BLD, the home builder theme, has been acting really well, and this is at a key spot at this large volume day low. We just kind of subtly undercut that. Let's actually see if we undercut that. So the low is 345.01. This low is 345.24. So it did undercut it, and it's holding at this level right near the 21 EMA as well. So could watch for a pop up through and manage risk really tightly at these lows. The home builder theme was super strong off lows and then has had a pullback with a lot of the rest of the market. So we'll see if they can make a stand and continue to see rotation into this theme. BLDR, very similar, upside reversal. Could watch for these pivots to see if we get some continuation up. BVN in the banking space, super powerful off these lows here. And let's actually see what this move has been, about 64%. And then, this pullback here, let's take a look, only about 7%. So very, very tight here relative to this move up. Maybe we get a little bit more consolidation, a tight inside day, and then we could get an explosion like this. Again, this is a little bit more speculative. So definitely keep in mind, not all of these are true market leader quality. Some of these are more day trading, swing trading type names. But I like to have a little bit of everything because I know there's a wide variety of styles of people who watch this channel. CAMT has been super strong all year. Really tight inside day to end out Friday, and just watching for continuation up, finding support, nice support at that 21 EMA. Coin, the crypto theme, is definitely something I'm watching as well, along with all the ones I've listed before. We have had a sharp pullback here, but we're kind of respecting this 21 EMA area, and it remains to be seen whether we form out a base or just kind of rally back towards these highs off this level. You can manage risk pretty easily off this inside day if we do resolve to the upside. CRNX, another kind of very small speculative biotech, I believe, just based on the name. Yep, Crinetics. I don't even know how to say that, but nice upside reversal Friday. Nice drift into the 21 EMA area, and this looks slow, but this move was about 40%. So this thing can go, and you can manage risk pretty easily if it continues up and kind of breaks this downward trend line right here that you can draw. Crowd, this is more true market leader quality. This has been one of the leaders in the cybersecurity space. We've had a pullback to this prior resistance area. Nice respect for that. We're back at the 21 EMA area, and just watching for continuation up here to form out kind of a flat base here below 262 and above 237. Duolingo definitely broke expectations a little bit these days. Sharp decline. But now we're at the 50 SMA, so it's time for it to make a stand. We've also kind of had an undercut of this level, so there's a few reasons why it's potentially actionable at this space, in this area here, and basically watching for it to resolve to the upside if possible from this tight area, and you can manage risk pretty easily at the 50 SMA or at the lows of this tight consolidation. You can see RMV going to 0 as this stock tightens. Dexcom, this is just a move off the lows, but really nice action here, and forming a nice kind of 3 weeks tight, consolidation, around 3 weeks long, and respecting that 21 EMA and just watching for continuation up to the upside. DYN, huge volume coming in. Again, this is more speculative. This can move 31% in a day. You got to manage risk a little bit differently with these type of names if you even want to get involved. If it's not your style and you're not competent at these type of trades, stick to your lane, focus on what you're good at. This is just for people who like these explosive, movers that are, moving higher on huge volume, consolidating, tightening up, and then potentially resolving to the upside once again, but really tight action on this Friday. ESTC, another name that kind of broke expectations, broke lower, but is now forming a tight area that's potentially tradable. We'll see if this resolves to the upside or downside. EYPT, gap up at the 21 EMA, got a downward trend line here. Easy to manage risk at the swing, swing low here if it resolves to the upside. FRPT pulling back to the 21 EMA, pretty strong relative to most stocks out there, holding the 21 EMA nicely. Maybe we get an inside day and then you can manage risk versus that, or you can just manage risk versus that 21 EMA. HUT goes along with that crypto theme, also at that 21 EMA, and just watching to see how this resolves. IBP in the home building theme, another oops reversal Friday, potentially actionable, and watching for fall through to the upside. LBPH, another pharma company, huge breakout, I assume on earnings. And actually, let's take a look here. It doesn't earn anything. Let's see what date this was, November 2. So this isn't on earnings, must have been, a drug announcement, a trial of some sort, but huge move on volume and now really, really tight. But you got to keep in mind that you have to manage risk with these names. Biotech can gap down 50%. So you definitely have to, use proper position sizing, but watching to see how this overall resolves after this large gap up on the news event. LEN also in the home building theme. Let's double check that. Yep. And resting nicely at the 21 EMA, basically watching for resolution to the upside. Mara, tight inside day, watching to see how the crypto theme resolves itself. Metsi, another coal name. Tight action Friday, watching for continuation to the up. We do have kind of 3 days up in a row here, just 1 day pause, so it might need a little bit more time, build out a short-term flag, but basically watching to see how this base resolves. Moving on, we've got mRNA, another biotech name. A lot of you guys are, of course, familiar with Moderna. Testing that 200-day moving average. I like to see, a few more days, a few more weeks, why not, of sideways consolidation, but, acting well, moving higher on volume. We've got gap ups. This close, was support. So there's signs of accumulation here. But again, this is kind of an off the bottom play. So many people, prefer trading the stocks near all-time highs. Stick to what you are best at. That's the way to go. Marvel, acting well, forming out this longer term base, watching this consolidation pivot here. Nice action the past 2 days, popping back above the 21 EMA. NVIDIA also moving higher. We've talked about this before. We'll see if we can tighten one more time. NVR, another biotech, I believe. Let me just double check here. Nope, they're a home builder. So nice action off lows. This looks pretty close to the nail chart. I should have known, but tight action the past few weeks, respecting that 21 EMA area, and nice inside day to end out last week. Not the greatest closing range, but it doesn't really matter on such a tight day like that. And we'll see if we can push higher here on volume. Path, another one kind of pulling back hard, but at a key level, this low here, below declining 21 EMA, but just watching how this resolves from this tight area. You can see RMV went to 0 on that name. PDD, consolidating after this gap up. We'll see how this resolves from this consolidation. RVMD, another, biotech that's forming out a tight area here, watching to see if it can resolve to the upside or how it goes. SDRL, another shipping name, moving up the right-hand side of this base and watching to see how this flag resolves itself. You had a nice move here, higher on volume. Now we're kind of drifting lower and forming another tight area. SIDU, this is a very speculative name. I just put on this list really to watch it, but very strong move on volume, and this is something that can go up an enormous amount or also go down an enormous amount. So you have to be careful and just kind of watching this one. I don't plan to trade this name. SNDX, another pharma name, kind of going sideways. Nice action on Friday. STNE at that 21 EMA. Twist also at that 21 EMA. This is a biotech that actually has sales and earnings. So an interesting one to watch. Nice action Friday was potentially actionable and watching for fall through to the upside. VKTX going sideways here. Another pharma company acting well, forming a flat base, whatever you want to call this, holding that 21 EMA. Wire forming a tight consolidation here. And lastly, we've got X, which after this gap up, is tightening up here. This could be an acquisition. I could be wrong. So let me know down below in the comments. And actually, I forgot one. I saw this on Twitter. I think PBA mentioned it. ANET, another name that's been acting really well, tightening up near that 21 EMA. There's a lot of names looking like this as of this moment. So we'll see if these, all resolve to the upside, or if they continue to pull back and, need a little bit more time, a little bit more of a down cycle before we're ready for a continuation up. But we'll see what happens. We don't have to predict. As always, we'll just have to wait and see how things actually play out. But hopefully this was helpful, me running through a lot of charts. Let me know your thoughts down below. If there's any names that you'd like my thoughts on, or any names that you particularly are watching for next week, let me know as well. If you're watching all the way up to this point, comment, let's go with waffle. Comment waffle down below if you're watching all the way down, all the way up until this point. I'm not sure how long this is, about 25 minutes now. So thank you guys for sticking with me. Really appreciate it. If you did enjoy, definitely go ahead and leave a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel. And I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care.